right? So from now, the lecture takes place on this screen, Visual Studio Code. And today we started out with lecture 2 arrays. Remember that I have I started out typing the to-do all the way, show you some cool methods, and all the way down to sharing how you can do some cool arrays tricks. So the code, when I run, it looks like this, right? Unfortunately, we no longer have the colors, but I can have the same effect. I just run the code automatically. It's a bit fancy with the minimap. I don't know how useful that is. It's up to you. Or with Visual Studio Code, you definitely can take advantage of the split screen or command minus and plus, when you can change things so you can handle different files this way when sometimes you need to compare. For example, learn arrays was here. Okay, I don't need the sidebar anymore, so I have more screen estate. I want to use this hash file as the main file here. Okay, so I'll just go back here, and you see that today I've covered starting from simple. Let's turn off the terminal. Right? Simple arrays, and then we went on and learned hash. And learn hash. Why do we need hash? When we have a list of to-do items, if it's a string, it's not enough information. So it's not about hash versus array. Here is, instead of using an array of strings, I'm using an array of hash. So it's between string and hash, right? So in the past, to keep track of my items, whether I've done something or not, that was to do and what? Done. Okay, so I share with you guys that I need to keep track of like this index 0 and index 0. Here's how I get things done. Okay, so I recommend. Yeah, so that's fine. So for hash, we'll go a little bit more advanced. We find that it's very nice to represent this whole structure above with just an array of hash items. Okay, so each to do is now a hash. All right, so you now have learned how to do hash on. This is this is an array of items. So you're doing an each on array here, but with item, you can do each with key value. Are we all clear on that? Key value, right? So let's run this one more time and see, okay, with hash, right, I'm able to extract information doing order name and order age. The highlighting is not as perfect as the repo screen. So it takes some time to get used to. Hopefully we can change our editor setting to make it look even better. Okay, so I cancel this right here. So to jump between the left and the right hand side, that's command 1, 2. The sidebar here, right? You can open any file by command P, and then you can change to that file easily. We don't need to work with too many files just yet. But the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to rename this to learning lecture 2 symbols. Right? What we're going to learn is symbols. So this should be hashes, I guess. I'm going to copy this hash and put it in this symbol. All right. Let's run this code, and I'm going to I print this hash to do hash, and you see why is it not showing up? That's not good. It doesn't like this hash. All right, so I save and I run it. It looks like that. Why is it showing twice? Is it twice? Oh no, it's the same thing. Okay, so I want to print it in a nicer way. So to do hash, that's an array, right? Do, and then this will be item. We'll be all clear on that. I notice this is still 4 spaces. I don't like that. I will show you how to fix that later. So I change that to 2. So now I press enter, it's in that 2 spaces. So then I'm going to display if item what? Item done is done. Yeah, no, it's good. Good. Then this item here is each line here, up here, right? So if it's done, then I will print, right? That is done. And then plus the item, what? Name. And then else, put this one, and then item name. Let's try it, right? It looks like that. And you can practice basically now. This is one way to display your information. So I am going to define a method called display to do, okay? And then I pass in any to do hash I want. So I will pass in here just some hash. This is just a temporary variable name. And then I copy this and put it in here, right? So this will be a hash.each. Yeah? So now if I save this and I run, what happens? You get nothing, right? Because I haven't called the methods yet. I'll change this to learning, what's that, hash symbols, okay? So I still have nothing because learning hash symbol. I have nothing because I haven't called display to do. What is the argument I should put in display to do? What's the argument? To do hash. That's the only thing I have up there, right? So I save this file and I run it. It looked like this. So some people may like to display to do this way. Let's try to do it in a different way. How about displaying only the done items first, and then display the undone items next. Now make sure you like, okay, it's nice. I want to see everything I've done first. So display, maybe you can say display done. I pass in a hash. Now again, you can do this. Oh, this is not a hash. This is so bad. I'm sorry. Let's not. This probably is called to do array. It's an array of hash, right? So that's a bad name. So let's call it to do array. This is more like a hash array. Change it. Only item is a hash, right? All right. We have an array. So in this array, I can do dot each, and if item is done, then I print like this, right? And I just skip if I see any undone item. Huh? You can sort it, but you have to tell what criteria to sort. If you map learn numbers, learn string, blah blah, to a string, an array of the display, you map it. Yeah, you can sort it, but right now you don't have an array of these lines. You only have an array of these strings, right? Ian, if you want to sort, you need to go and map. I showed you guys how to map that earlier. Where is it? Let's let's see, learn hash array, right? I show you guys how to map it here. You first have to map it into these strings, and then you can sort them if you want. But what I'm doing here is that I don't have that mapped array, right? I have this an array of these hashes, right? I am just checking if it's done, then I print them. If not, I just forget about them. Let's see, right? This is to do display to do. We no longer call it to do hash. It's actually to do array. And maybe I can try next. Maybe display done, right? And then I do display done like that. To do array. All right. Can we guess what's coming up? Display done only show the done items, right? And now how do you implement display undone? An array. Alright? Louis, can you read for me how to implement this method? How to implement this display undone method? It will be very similar to these guys. So, Kui, can you help me? Okay. In array, okay, dot, each, do, item, great. And then, if, item, done. Now this is false, right? No, there's no undone. Done is up here, there's no undone. What you're checking is if this is the same as false. Right? Up here is the same as true. But, you know, it's what you say is true. You can't just say, you know, it's not needed. So in this case, you can check if false. Yeah?
Your next line, would you put
Puts,
open like this?
open, very good.
Yeah.
And then,
And then plus
item, name. Are we clear on this one? Okay? Let's make it shorter. Let's make it shorter, right? Each, now you can just change this into item. Yeah? And then you can say puts here. You put it here. Right? So it's like this, right? If item done is false, and then close it. So just one line like that. So there's a, and then if I run, this is how you display undone. I need to, now I call display undone, okay? Undone. Let's try it. This is how you display undone. So that's one line. Of course, it can be faster if false. Remember, we're using English here. So instead of if false, you can use not right here. This is not. Exclamation mark means, of course, you can also use that, I think. But the right way to do it is if not something, then you say unless. Okay? So unless done. So if not. Unless, the meaning of unless is if not. So I can go and run it again. It still works the same way. What if I don't like the way that this is printed? So you can even say, you know, I'm done. Or you can call it to do. And then up here, you call these guys like, you know, done, right? So I'm going to try to print display, puts display done, right? And then display done to do array. Okay, I'm separating the lines so you guys can see the logic, but I'm changing the way I'm presenting my data, right? So, any surprises here? Looks good. So this is the, as you become better in Ruby, you can just do that. It looks quite nicely, right? Do the one-liner. But of course, be careful because you don't want to write a line that's too long and you don't understand, and it's hard to troubleshoot. I prefer you to just keep writing it this way until you feel comfortable. Okay? So what we're doing next is that I'm going to go to the terminal, IRB require this file, which is called lecture 2 symbols. This is one way to load the file. .rb. I think I still, I need to go to day 1. Is it? No, day 2, right? Day 2. Okay, so we run this. Still good, right? Now I want to be able to access my display to do, so I'm gonna create a to do equals to do array. Are we good with that? I am just creating another instance variable. So now I will exit from this and I run again, but now I have my to-do. Okay, what is the structure of to-do? To-do is an array. Yeah? To-do is an array here. And you have to-do dot, first, that's each one of them. Yeah? If you do to-do, what if I want to look at to-do here, right? If I get the keys of each item in to-do, the first item, second items, they're all named and done, right? Right? What if I want to map this to-do and each one of this item, okay? I want to get item dot keys. All right, who knows what's gonna show up on the screen? Name, or name done. Name done, or name, done. Name done, right? Okay?
Yeah, it's just harder for bees. That's all it is.
Right, it's just slightly harder, but but do we understand the mapping? I am doing mapping in, let's say I'm doing values now. Okay? What will be learn numbers true, learn numbers, yeah?
Yes.
I can do maybe item name. I'm mapping, I'm getting only the names out from my to-do. So now this looked like your last lecture to-do array, right? Our to-do array of hash is just more powerful than array of string, right? And remember, this is done here. This is true, false. This is exactly what we were learning with the, this done thing and then this to-do thing, right? So that's the review on how we use the hash for our to-do application. However, people realize that I use name here a lot. And each time you use it, it's a string. And you don't have to care about it very much, but understand that, let's say, if I use a string, it uses 1 byte in the memory. In the memory, you have 1,000 to-do items. Each time you use name, it's using 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte.
Taking up space.
Right, taking up space. So technically, everyone can share one thing called name. And everyone can share one thing called done. But these are all different strings. So Ruby come up with something a little bit more efficient, and it's quite nice to read. It's called symbol. So the way symbol work is that this name is a string, but it's somewhere in memory. It's like, this is like the identification number. And if you run this object again, you see that the identification number is different. Right? It's different each time. So technically Ruby is just creating new memory to run the name thing for you. But if you know you're going to use a million names and they're all the same thing, maybe that's a better way to do it. Of course, you don't have to worry. After I press exit, Ruby releases all the memory back to the computer, so it's not a problem. Okay? So it's really smart. It's smart enough. But in a complicated program, you might want to use something more clever than this. And the idea is, what if I use colon name? It's very similar to string, but you cannot change it. Right? So let's say name, you can say name plus, name, A is name, and you can change A, right? A is A plus name plus S, so A is name, something like that. You can keep changing things. But there is something, it's more fixed. It's called, let's say, colon name. Colon name dot object ID. Each time you use it, it's a smaller number. It's always the same. Okay? So from now on, when you see that I use this name, maybe instead of that, I do name, right? Name. That looks fine to you? It will work the same way. Let's try. But down here too, right? I have to change this guy. Same thing. And this guy. Because otherwise, it will not work. It will become nil. Right? When you use an unknown key in a hash, you get nil. Okay? Just like when in an array of 5 numbers, you put array index 1000, you get nil. Alright, so everything under like this name thing, here's your opportunity to use Command F and then name, and click here, change it to :name, and everything get changed. I haven't changed, well, here, change everything. You see? Change, right? So I haven't changed done. Just keep names that way. Now, if I now run the program again, everything still works as normal. Let's look at my to-do. It's just name here. And then when I do to-do map, maybe keys here. :name done, :name done, :name done. This actually, all of them are pointing to the same :name. So it's a bit more efficient. It's nice. I'm going to do the same thing with done, right? And here's the opportunity to do it. Click here. All right. Let's do done. Change it down here to done. Replace everything. You can see the shortcut there. And click that. I'm going to reload the file. And then I'm checking to do again. I'm checking map. In each item, I get item.keys. Now, imagine I have 1,000,000 to-do items. They're all pointing to the same guy. You don't have to create room for string, right? And normally it's just, it's quite nice to read. And then Ruby realizes that, it's nice to read, but it's still pretty weird with this thing. Remember what we saw when we changed the setting? It looks like something : something. Key and value. This is the Ruby symbol way. Only possible with symbol. You change, instead of name, you change back to name. That's the key. And this is the value. So done will be like that. And this is the value. So look at that and look at this. They are the same thing, but this is what you normally use when you use a symbol. You will, when you read your Ruby code online, start Googling array, when you handle hash, this is what you deal with most of the time. So with that, I am going to do another change, right? So names do like this, right? I will change it to name : that's it, and change everything to that. I'm going to do the same thing with done, and then done is like that. Okay? So key value is now separated by just the colon. And this is how you properly use a hash. So let's run the program again. Let's make sure that nothing breaks. Hey, it still works, right? Let's look at an item. I create a new item. Remember our to-do? I want to do more now. This is my to-do. How many items are there? We can say display done, display undone, all right? To-do. I can pass in a to-do list. You see this? I wish there's color. I'll show you how to do colors tomorrow. Okay? You see this? Right? And what if I want to have more to do? Right? How do you do that? To do is an array. So you just need to push more stuff to it. Or you can do that, use that syntax. This. No, the shovel, operator. So I'm going to create a new item. It's now a hash, as usual. And this hash, I will call it, now I use name : see? Name : Let's say go home. Yeah? And you can even have an incomplete task. No need done, right? Go home. New item like that. And you're like, okay, I forgot to put done to it. No problem. Let's put done. And now you do it differently. You don't do done like that. But this is the key, done. Okay, it's not this, alright? When you use the symbol, you use it in front. So that's slightly confusing. So done is, no, false. And now let's print new item. The cool thing about IRB, interactive Ruby, is that you can just type and then it shows you the return value. You don't have to print. It looks like what I expect in a to-do list, right? So I'm going to add this to my to-do. How do I do that? To-do, add, so or dot push, it's the same. New item. Okay? And now I will display what method I have here. Display undone. Okay? To do. Sometimes you feel lazy. It's a method. You don't have to. You need the. That's up to you, right? You don't need the parentheses. That's okay. And you see 3 things here. Right? That's pretty neat. And let's say I want to say I already learned hash. I want to mark that learn hash as done. Who knows how to do that? Let's look at to do again. It looks a bit difficult to see, right? So I'm going to do puts to do, and it print like this. Because it's an array, when you do puts, it will print 1 line at a time. So that's cool. Now, how can you mark learn hash as done?
Change it to true, false.
Huh?
Change the one that are false.
Correct. How do you change it? The only thing I have is to do. How do I change it? To do is an array, right? Alright, what number?
4.
4? Let's double check. Learn arrays. Ha! Alright, let's try 5. Learn methods. What? 6. You just won a lottery. Great. Now you have to do 6. How do you change it to done? Right? You can just convert it to current, this is my current task, right? My current item. And then now you have my current item to be this, and you can change it. Done to true. Okay? Huh? Let's just try to do puts to do it again. Oh my. You take it out, and you set the done thing, and it's done. Of course, how many lines did I have to do it? Next time I will put colors in here. It's easier for you to see. That's tomorrow. But how many?
4 or 5.
Yeah, so look, oh, my to do, and then I check it. Well, technically 2 lines. This line, this line, and this line. I can change back. I'm like, I made a mistake. I actually did not understand hash. So let's check it again. Okay, fine. I'm going to set done to false. And now I display done thing, not done thing. It's still 3 things. If I set this to true and I display done, I only have 2 things. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, thank you. Now, any questions about the symbol? Yes, one more time. If I well, it just changed the value. For example, I is name. You cannot do operator on it. So a is a variable, it's a name, right? And then you can a dot what? It will just not work. Symbol just doesn't allow you to change itself. Name, if a is name, right? A dot, okay, this is a bit advanced, but that is, and then a is a plus names, right? Now a is changed. And then, well, it will extend So in memory, it was just like, okay, I create an extra memory and then append a string to it.
So the symbol is permanently on your files.
Yeah, symbol is it's permanent within that scope, and it's like an index, probably more like symbol. You know, the name symbol. It works better as key. Right? It's like when you say colon name, it's always the same thing.
So is there other case to use symbol or just in hash?
You can use symbol anywhere, but for example, all right, let's think about the list of our students. Our student names, they are strings, right? We can use symbol. So, you know, let's say Louis will be that instead of this. It's a bit hard, you know, for example, Louis Armstrong, you can write like this. You can't really use, you cannot have space in a symbol. Yeah? You can convert Louis Armstrong to a symbol, and it will look like this. It looks a bit funny. But then if you have a million students, you have a million symbols. That's not the point. The point is that, look, I have a million items to do items, but I only have 2 symbols. So therefore you use symbols as hash keys. I don't use symbols as hash values here. Right?
Symbols is pretty much just used to get rid of extra space.
It makes things look a lot prettier, and underneath it's just more efficient. You don't care about the efficient part. At this stage, you should not care about it. You should just learn it because everyone's using it. If you feel comfortable using array, no problem. I mean, string as hash key. I use it sometimes. I still use it with us when it seems like clear. Like, you know, I create an array and I call this, you know, age is 5, and that I create a hash, right? Age is 5. But from today on, you can say, well, actually I understand symbol now, so I can type like that. No, actually I understand symbol very well now, so I can type like this. This is the new syntax. Right? It was new like 10 years ago. So when I first learned Ruby, this didn't exist.
So is there a way to list all symbols?
List all the symbols in a hash, yes, but not, I mean, you know, Ruby would say none of your business. Why do you care about all the symbols? All the symbol in your, you know, your hash. For example, I have a hash. Let's say I have a classroom. You know, my students. It's a simple students with like, you know, A, B, C. Now 3 students, and then I have like, you know, I don't know what else is good with symbol. Subject. You know, like Ruby, right? So I have 2 symbols, and in this case, you just call them keys. And you're just listing all of them out. You tend to use symbol for hash keys. Let's look at any hash, right? My amazing hash is empty. Hash empty. So if you put hash blah, what do you think will return? Nil. And of course, if you set it to a value, then your hash now has a value. Right? If you change it to nil, then it's already there. So if you really want to delete it, you have to say delete blah, okay? Then hash is nothing again. But if you have anything else, let's say this symbol H, you see it? No, right? So hash, you can even do 1. Imagine my hash is like 1 is A, hash 1 is B. It starts to look like an array, but array is nicer to look at, right? Here is a hash with 0, 1. You don't use hash for this purpose. You should use arrays. So hash is very versatile. The key inside a hash can be a number, or a string, or a symbol. Can it be a hash? Yeah, it can be a lot of things. Maybe can it be a hash? Like, you know, I have another hash. Let me see. Another hash is like, this is a hash, right? Another. And then if I say hash of another is 2, then here's your hash. This is your key, and this is your value. And you never do this, because it just seems Wrong. You don't normally change your key, but in here you can just go in and change your hash key. All right. You want the key to be something that takes very little memory, very small. It's just the key, you know, is pointing to the value. So like Lois' example just now, the key unlocks into the value, right? The key is what you unlock the door, and then the value is what's inside the room. So what's inside the room can be tremendous, like huge, but the key is just tiny. So with future homework, you can start using these symbols. Get used to a key colon value. It's a lot faster to type, don't you think?
Yeah.
You don't like typing this like age this anymore, huh? From now on, you just want to say age 1, right? Name Adele. That's kind of cool. Okay, and that's it. So let's go home and finish the milestone with the extra work on symbols in there. Okay, thank you guys.